All right, coming in at number 32 on the Locked On Senators 2024 NHL Draft Rankings, it's Andrew Basha. This guy's highlight reel, Pilsy, is electric.
Yeah, Ross, this is probably the most exciting prospect we've looked at here. And Basha is all offense. Like, he's able to put up points at a monstrous rate in 63 games last season with the Medicine Hat Tigers in the WHL. He had 30 goals, 55 assists, good for 85 points. So 85 points, 63 games. Not bad. 5 points in 5 playoff games. You'll love to see point per game in the postseason. And look, obviously, a lot of this helps when you're playing on a line with Caden Lindstrom. But keep in mind, Ross, Caden Lindstrom got injured for a good chunk of that season. So it's not like the production just fell off a cliff when Lindstrom left the lineup.
It's so funny to see the rankings on this 5'11", 174-pound left winger, November birthday. So one of the older players in this draft. Elite Prospects has him at 16 on their list. Well, Corey Prodman has him at 87. But if you go Olympic
87
style,
is, we got to talk about that later. I'll let you continue, Ross. But 87 is just wild to have a guy like Basha that low.
Well, funny enough, one is so high and the other so low that the average out, it basically, he ends at 32 here. And if you go with our other 5 entities, you're probably looking at 32 as well, because he's 24 for Bob, 30 for Button, 28 for Wheeler, 38 for Peters, and 26 for McKean's. So it is a pretty tight range for him until you add in those 2 outliers at one end and the other. Now, when you look at Andrew Basha, you look at the excitement when he has the puck and how he picks up speed through the neutral zone. He's a one-man wrecking crew. It's really fun to watch. Like, you talk about the way and the acceleration is, I guess quickness would be the one word. When you're describing his game, everything he does at 110% speed.
Yeah, Ross, I just did the quick math there. So if we do Olympic style, which you like to do once in a while, take out the highest, take out the lowest, his average turns out to be 29.2.
Okay, so a little bit higher.
So, like, I don't know. I would love to get Pronman's, obviously we can find his write-up and stuff, but I would love to get him to explain how he has Basha that low, because a lot of other scouts are very high on this guy. There's so many skills that I like Wheeler applauds his competitiveness and how he forechecks hard. He isn't afraid to get bumped along the way. David St. Louis from EP mentions how he's at his best when he has the puck. And what he does from the highlights I was watching, Ross, a couple things I really noticed is he gets these short speed bursts, and then he combines the speed with tricking his opponents. So there's no real way for them to stop him, because if they try to get in his way, he can get around them with his quick speed. Or if they're trying just to slow him down, he's able to use that stick handling and figure out another way to get around him. So I think Basha is just a guy that he's going to help your team create so much offense just because he's so effective at moving the puck up the ice and into the ozone.
Our friend over at Flow Hockey, Chris Peters, just talks about how, yeah, he's electric in the offensive zone. He's a highly skilled creative playmaker, is what Peters says. But he also says there's some really bad habits and questions about the overall compete level. We know he's not the biggest guy, but also this guy might have the Johnny Gaudreau amount of hits this past year. He doesn't engage physically at all. Is that something you think scouts are going to take into account when they're looking of whether or not this is the guy for their organization?
Well, it depends how you're going to define physicality, right? Because like I read Wheeler's quote, or I don't know if it's a quote, but paraphrasing from Wheeler's write-up, saying he forechecks hard and isn't afraid to get bumped along the way. So does that mean Bash is out there laying Mark Method hip checks and center ice? No. But does it mean that if the puck's in the corner, he's going to stand back and wait for everyone else to do the battling? I don't think so either. So I think you can be a physical player without throwing big hits or or being dominant physically. It's more just that he's not going to shy away from those puck battles or doing what it takes to get into that prime area of ice that a goal scorer like Basha needs to get into to be successful. And I don't think that's the biggest knock on him, Ross. I think the biggest knock on Basha is he doesn't love to play defense. We've been talking about how much he loves offense, how much he can break the puck into the offensive zone, how many points this kid puts up. That's all well and good in the WHL and junior. But if he's going to be successful moving on, he's going to have to figure out a way to at least put some effort in defensively. Like, it really seems like he's not that interested defensively. Every single scout that I've looked at, the only kind of compliments and positives to his game relate to the offensive side of the puck. So clearly there's not a lot to be desired, or he's leaving a lot to be desired when it comes to the defensive side of the puck. Now, look, nobody's looking at Connor McDavid and is saying, that guy is horrible, he doesn't play defense. Because if he's putting up all these points, you can give him a bit of a loose chain when it comes to playing hard defensively. So if Basha's going to go that route and he's going to kind of outscore some of his defensive woes, that's one way you can go. But I think for teams to really consider him in the first round and kind of take a swing at him, especially if he goes late in the first round, Ross, and these are Stanley Cup contenders who don't have their first round picks a lot or have depleted prospect pools from making trades for rentals and going on deep runs, they're not going to want to take a swing on a guy that isn't interested in playing defense.
Yeah, I think that's a fair comment. Now, what do you think? You kind of answered it there, though, but do you have a team that you're kind of eyeing that would be a fit for him?
I honestly, Ross, I think a lot of teams would make sense. I think the best spot for him, though, would be to go to a middling team, not a contender, not a rebuilding team, a middling team that's looking for a big offensive upside. So maybe an Ottawa Senators team at 25. I wouldn't be that upset if they went for him at 25, Ross. There's just so many things that I love about this player. He's so fun to watch. One of the other things I noticed in his highlights, when he takes a shot, he's not just like, okay, I ripped it on net, didn't go in, one of my teammates will clean it up. He's like that point guard in basketball that takes a shot from 3-point range, and as soon as it's left his hand, he's running towards the rim to get the rebound. That's what Basha does when he shoots it. He's crashing the net to look for that rebound or to create offense or create chaos. So I honestly think, Ross, that he can be an elite top line player one day. It may take time, but just the offensive skills, you combine the shot. He's one of those guys that can go down the wing and just rip one bar down on a goalie. You know, I love that, Ross. Nice, easy goal. So I've got Basha at 4 out of 5 stars, Ross.
Whoa,
I think
4.
Yeah, I got him as a 4-star guy. The offensive talent is just so incredible. It's hard to leave a guy like that on the table because you're going to be wondering, how's he going to, maybe he doesn't immediately give dividends, but I think once he gets used to the pro game a little more and learns how to defend, because he's going to learn how to defend, I think he's going to be a really good player. I would have no problem picking him at 25.
Wouldn't it be fun, though, for the Calgary Flames to get him, the hometown kid? He could help out their prospect pool. I like them. They have 2 second-round picks. They've got 2 first-round picks, including Vancouver's, which is going to be later on in that first round. I'm also going to note the Carolina Hurricanes. They love their analytics there, and his are unbelievable, especially on the offensive side. Andrew Basha comes in at number 32. On the Locked On Senators draft rankings. For more draft profiles, go check us out at Sens Central.